Kanku is a lecturer, a senior lecturer for that matter, at the Ghana Institute of Journalism. Thank you very much for joining us. Doc, as a communication specialist, what in your view is the importance of communication by leaders at a time like this?
Extremely important, because in a public health crisis, the kind of information that people get is very critical to addressing the crisis. Generally speaking, communication is very important to health. It is the information people have, their beliefs, that influence their practices. And so communication is critical. And this is not just a health issue, it's a pandemic, it's a public health crisis, a different crisis of its own. And so you need that leadership. You need that communication in order to make sure that the crisis is addressed and that people get the right information. Otherwise, it makes the crisis even worse.
Based on that, would you say that President Akufo-Addo has been able to carry us along with his communication? Is it persuasive enough?
I think by and large he has, because he has not been missing from our lives since the pandemic happened. What I mean is that he has not been absent.
Right.
There are some countries who have complained, I don't want to mention names, that their leaders have been absent ever since. They've not even heard from them as often as they would want to. But here's the case where we've had a president who has been front and center in the crisis. He's been very visible. This was the 10th address, as we know. And so he's been front and center. He's been the face of the pandemic. So that, to that extent, there is no leadership gap that we've seen. However, people have complained about the timing of the conference, of the televised address, that it's too late and that should be changed. They've also listened to those who have complained that we need a bit of the local language in it. So we've had a president who has really tried to be at the front, and center of it. Others have said that they should also make the
But do you find the timing of his addresses appropriate? As a communication specialist?
I think it could be much, much earlier. I really think it could be much earlier. That would be very helpful. Time? Maybe 8 o'clock, it's fine. Worst case scenario, 9 or even 7, but 8 should be fine. 10, by that time, a lot of people are going to bed. So, that's way too late. But apart from that, I do think that he's done quite a bit to make sure that he has carried Ghanaians alongside. And if you look at the way he has communicated, there are certain communication strategies or tools or devices that he has used to make sure that he is being persuasive. As to whether it's resonating or not, that's a whole different story. But then he's dependent on certain communication devices or certain strategies to make sure that his message is being sent out there and that it is resonating with the audience. And if you look at the last address, for instance, he said a couple of things,
Right.
He made sure that he cited data, certain facts in terms of testing and other things to say that, well, this is enough for us to be able to ease our lockdown. He made sure that he used what I call religious appeals, saying that the battle is the Lord, we have faith in the Lord, this too shall pass. These are communication, devices or tools or rhetorical strategies that he's used in order to make sure that he's resonating with the Ghanaian people. And I think by and large, we've seen a president who has been very empathetic in his address. He's always said that he knows that some of these measures have been very restrictive, has led to a lot of suffering. And so he acknowledges that. And that is very important. Otherwise, he would look insensitive, right? So these are some of the tools that he has tried to use to make sure that he is keeping in touch with the Ghanaian populace.
Okay, finally, are there any downsides that you have seen that you would want corrected?
We did talk about one, which was the timing, of
yes,
the address.
Beyond that, yeah.
Beyond that, the other thing which could make it even better, I don't know if it's a downside, but which could make it even better is that it could be way more interactive, right?
Okay,
so, we
like a live presser.
Like a live presser.
Okay.
We could have a couple of journalists around, to do some follow-ups.
Do you have a problem that it's pre-recorded?
Well, it's one way of doing it. It's one way of doing it, but
you wanted more interactive. So.
Yes. If it's because we live in a social media age, and if you monitor the conversations online, people have also had cause to complain about the recorded version. So that would just make it even more engaging. Remember the key thing in communication is that it's got to be two-way, right? Horizontal.
But there are some people who have said that he's
help.
left that part for the Ministry of Information to be doing that, and they do it twice a week.
Yeah, but the president is the bully, is what we call the bully pulpit. So he commands a lot more attention and a lot more following than that.
All right.
So.
Thank you very much for speaking with us. Dr. Echesi Kanku is a political communications analyst and a senior lecturer at the Ghana Institute of Journalism. Election is just around the corner, so we'll be seeing him a lot more often. You're watching Newsroom on GH1 TV. Stay with us. After the break, we've got our social media segment coming up.